World of Warships is a free-to-play game, which means you can download the game, play it completely for free. You can play it for years and years and years and never spend a single penny on the game, and I know several players that have done just that. But what if you are okay with spending a little bit of money on the game, but you want to make your money go as far as possible? And purchasing premium ships is something that quite a few players do. They have an improved economy, they have the ability to move commanders on and off of them completely for free, so they are something that many a player do wind up picking up. But what if you want to do that for, again, as cheap as possible and you want to make your money go as far as it possibly can go? Well, today I've compiled a list of 5 premium ships that will give you the best value for your dollar, the best bang for your buck. They are on the cheaper side for a couple of reasons, and we'll get to that when we get to each of these individual ships. But these are my top 5 value premium ships. So if you do find this video informational, helpful, or entertaining, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel down below. Helps out, of course, on the YouTube side of things. But anyway, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get on into it. Coming in at number 5, we have the Tier 7 Premium British battleship, or battlecruiser, the Hood. Now, the Hood, you do get just outright a lot for your money here. She's a Tier 7 premium ship, so she is not exactly going to break the bank. Depending upon where you at, Wargaming does do regional pricing, and Tier 7 premium ships are generally still on the cheaper side, again, when you look at like the cost of Tier 8 and above premium ships. And again, with the Hood, you just get like an actual lot of stuff for the price of a Tier 7 premium. First off, Hood has the HP of a higher end Tier 8 battleship. Just an absolutely obtuse amount of HP. We're sitting at almost 70,000 HP in the Hood, which is just ridiculous. And on top of that, too, you also get 8 15-inch guns at Tier 7, which are some, again, wildly large guns for a Tier 7 battleship to have. And the ship is also fast because she is a battle cruiser, or started out life as a battle cruiser. Additional armor was bolted to her as time went on. Again, it's a TLDR description of what happened to the Hood in real life. But yes, you have a very fast, very meaty, very hard-hitting battleship here. Now, those 15-inch guns allow you to do a couple of things at Tier 7. One, you can overmatch a lot of the bow armor that you're going to be seeing, especially when you are top tier in a Tier 7 match, which means you don't really care about the armor of other ships. You can just punch them right through the nose, and that is very excellent. And keep in mind, too, you have those guns on a very fast battleship. So you can zip around with your very, very healthy ship in terms of the HP and punch other ships through the nose. And again, 15-inch guns, again, are just large at Tier 7. So, of course, you get a large alpha damage with that as well. So when you do catch cruisers broadside or angled in the right way where you can bot into them, you can easily delete entire cruisers with a single salvo in the Hood. Now, the accuracy of the guns is a little squirrely from time to time. They're not exactly like German levels of bad, but of course 8 15-inch guns at Tier 7 has to be balanced somehow. But again, you really need a handful of shells to bite into the target, and you're going to be doing a decent amount of damage. And when the RNG gods do bless you, you will of course get those nice salvos where you can absolutely smack someone out of the match in a single blow. On top of that as well, her health pool does allow her to go quite a bit further than other Tier 7 ships. Now, her armor isn't exactly fantastic, but again, that's kind of made up for with the absurd amount of health you're getting with the Hood. Other Tier 7 battleships aren't really fantastically well armored either. That's, in some lines, you're still in like the super dreadnoughts that are, you know, fat and very meaty and can be farmed quite easily. Then other lines, you're starting into the fast battleships. They're a little bit more leaner on the armored side. So, yeah, she's still a pretty healthy Tier 7 battleship there. In addition to that, too, you do get the DFAA consumable that used to be godlike back in the day, but it's still pretty decent nowadays. So if CVs are giving you a hard time, you can pop DFAA and, well, make the CV player cry and tremble at the thought of approaching you again until they realize, you know, your DFAA is down. But yes, all in all, a very nice package here for the price of a Tier 7 premium ship. Again, just a lot of actual ship that you're getting here in the Hood. A ship that can hang out pretty well when it does get double up tiered, because you do still have those 15-inch guns. So when you're in a tier 9 game, you have a better chance of hanging in there with the higher tier ships than other tier 7 battleships, right? So a ship it's fast, got a nice amount of HP, big guns, got the DFAA, and of course it's a cool historical ship. So yes, a ship I would recommend picking up if you are looking for a cheaper premium ship that can, again, make your money go quite far. Alright, going down now to number 2, we have the Tier 7 Japanese battleship, the Hyuga. Now the Hyuga, you get a lot of guns here. Again, for the price of a Tier 7 battleship, you get 10 357mm guns, which that's a lot of guns at Tier 7. They aren't the largest caliber guns at Tier 7, but you get a lot of them. And from my experience with the Hyuga as well, the guns tend to be more accurate than not because of their smaller-ish caliber by Tier 7 standards. So you have the Japanese guns here that are relatively accurate, and like we've talked about in the past, the Japanese battleships, the Japanese battleship dispersion can be infuriating at times, but from what I've seen with the Hyuga, the guns are fairly consistent. So getting those guns that are consistent to hit the target in more cases than not, it's a very lovely experience from, again, my experience. Now, the smaller caliber gun is, kind of the opposite boat of the Hood, where you can't overmatch too much, but you do have HE, you can swap over to it. And again, with the high number of guns, you won't really have much problem starting fires in the Hyuga. And you also get the reload booster, where you can get some very quick follow-up shots thanks to that reload buff that you get with the reload booster, that 50% reload buff. So if someone does show you broadside, you can get your 10 guns on them, smack that reload booster, get another 10 guns going their way. So, again, you're going to make someone's day very, very miserable because of that. At the same time, too, with HE, it does work out there, because let's say you start a fire on said ship, but then said ship pops damage con. Once your damage con runs out, pop that reload booster, and you get another 2 salvos on that ship very, very fast, which means you have more fires on that ship, and now those fires are perma-fires, and that fellow's going to burn for the full fire duration. So, great way to do damage. Now, the Hyuga herself, the ship is fairly squishy. I wouldn't exactly call it a frontline tank. This is more of a mid-ish range battleship. Most of the Japanese battleships, I play them at mid-ish range for most of the match, and then when things start to, wind down and there's only a handful of ships left alive on either side, then you push in with your fairly healthy Japanese battleship for the late game, and you tend to do quite well. So, again, a ship here, you get a lot of guns for your money, good consistent guns, reload booster. What's more to ask for here with the Hyuga? Now, going on down now to our number 3 slot, we have old reliable, the Tier 8 Japanese cruiser, the Atago. Now, the Atago is an old premium, which is good for a couple of reasons. Older premiums in this game have I don't know if it was just the way they designed premium ships back in the day with their characteristics and such. There wasn't that much of an emphasis on gimmicks, but they tend to stand the test of time. And this ship has been an excellent ship for the past 8 years, right? I don't think it's really going to suddenly become a terrible ship in 2024. So it's a proven ship. It's got an excellent concealment. You have the Japanese HE with the main battery guns, so you're going to be setting plenty of fires. You have an excellent rudder shift time. You have torpedoes with improved launching angles for the Japanese cruisers. All that in a very lovely Tier 8 package. Now, one of the bonuses of this being an old ship is apparently wargaming, the older the premium, at least over here in North America, the cheaper it is. It is a few hundred doubloons less than your average Tier 8 cruiser, but it's still less, right? Like, I know some of you might be saying, well, wow, Sealord, a few hundred doubloons less. What a deal. Hey, less is less, right? I mean, like, it's still less than what you'd be paying for a more modern Tier 8 premium cruiser. But you're getting a very excellent one. Again, one that has proven itself over the past 8 years, has excellent accuracy on its main battery guns, and has all those goodies there. Like, the main battery guns are incredibly accurate, even by cruiser standards. This is a ship that doesn't really have a problem shooting destroyers until you get to the edge of its maximum range with that excellent Japanese HE Alpha. And since you have such an accurate set of guns here with great HE fire chances, you can easily burn down, capital ships like battleships, carriers, and some of these larger cruisers, all with, if you build into it, a 9.9 kilometer detection range, where you can easily break contact with the enemy team and just go dark. And you get a heal too, and hydroacoustic search and all that. And Atago is a ship that if you do get caught, you are going to feel the pain in it, because it is a Japanese cruiser, and Japanese cruisers are made of explodium. But unlike other Japanese cruisers at this tier, Atago does get a heal to kind of help her recover from that. Again, all that for what is at the end of the day a lower than average cost for a tier 8 premium cruiser. So again, what's not to like here with the Atago? A ship that's proven itself throughout its time in the game, an excellent ship, a ship that's slightly less than your average tier 8 premium ship. So again, Atago, cannot recommend her enough. That brings us down on now to our number 2 slot, which is the tier 6 premium Japanese battleship, the Mutsu. Man, we're on a run of Japanese ships here in this list. I didn't even realize that. Well, they're still good either way. So the Mutsu is a tier 6 premium Japanese battleship with, at tier 6, 8 16-inch guns. Now, take what I was saying with the hood and apply that a tier lower, but with bigger guns. So at tier 6, you are absolutely just handed a sledgehammer with these 16-inch guns, which is a beautiful thing, which means that, tier 6 ships tend to be at least mid-tier more often than anything. Every now and then, of course, you will get a tier 8 game and a tier 6 ship, but from my experience, again, 6 tends to be mid-tier and up-tier in most matchmaking instances, which means you really do not care about armor at all, because 16-inch shells are just going to rip through whatever armor thresholds exist at tier 6 and tier 7. Which, of course, means, too, you just shoot whatever you want in the nose, and it's probably going to take a fair amount of damage. Now, there's a drawback to these guns. One, it's a tier 6 battleship, so they aren't exactly overly accurate. But again, you only really need a couple of shells to land to be doing a significant amount of damage, especially when it comes to bullying other tier 6 and tier 7 battleships. And two, the shell used by the Mutsu is a World War I era shell, which has good pins at closer range, but the longer range you go, the pins get just downright terrible, to where you'll probably just be bouncing or, if not shattering, on battleships at range. Conversely, though, if you do manage to get them to land on cruisers, because the pins are lower at longer range, they will still do quite well against them. But again, trying to land, shells with guns that are this level of accurate at, those long ranges on cruisers, it's going to be a little bit of a tall order, but if you can do it, it will work. The Mutsu is also fairly squishy from my experience too. She does get a bit of a party trick with her torpedoes, because this ship has 4 torpedo tubes, 2 per side. She gets 2 single-launched torpedoes per side, with a 20-second reload per torpedo, which is about 10 seconds faster than the reload of the main battery guns, because reasons. She also has a high number of secondary guns in addition to that. So, if you want to, you can play this ship as a brawler with a secondary build, because she has, again, just an absolutely absurd amount of secondary guns. At the same time, too, you can still build into her main battery guns and put a typical survivability build on the Mutsu commander and with the modules, and she'll do quite well as that too. So this is a bit of a rarity in game where you have a ship that can do very well with more than one standard build. For some reason, the commander rework for battleships that was, this commander rework, they're supposed to add a bit of a variety to the game in terms of commander builds. All it really did for battleships is that, well, either take a main battery tank build or a secondary build, or if you have, again, one of the handful of ships that can take alternative builds, you do that. But most ships, it's either tank or secondary build. Most ships, it's a tank build, right? So the Mutsu, though, you can do a tank build or you can do a secondary build. It's up to you. So you get a bit of variety there. For the Mutsu, you get a sledgehammer with a 16-inch gun, you get some goofy torpedoes, and some nice secondaries if you want to build into it, all for the cost of a tier 6 premium ship. What more needs to be said? And that now takes us down to our number 1 slot, which is the tier 8 premium American destroyer, the Kid. So the Kid, what was interesting is that the Kid, if you haven't hear me talk about the Kid in the past, it is an excellent tier 8 destroyer. You can do a lot with this ship. She has a heal with Fletcher guns at tier 8, which is just awesome. So you can play it like I do, which is a cap contesting destroyer. I go to the cap, I back into it, pop my smoke, and then if the enemy DD tries to take the cap from me, I see if I can find him, engage him in a one-on-one fight. And since, again, especially if you are mid or even top tier, or even bottom tier sometimes, a lot of higher tier destroyers and destroyers in general just don't have a heal. But you still have the firepower when it comes to the guns of the tier 9 American tech line destroyer, the Fletcher, which is a lot of firepower. But you have a heal that you can brute force your way through these engagements with, and unless you run into something like the 4 Sherman, the Small End, or one of the actual like dedicated gunboats, you're probably going to win most of your one-on-one fights. Again, unless you're playing against a destroyer that has an obscene amount of HP, or like the French DDs with their French damage saturation gimmick. But again, in most cases, you can beat them in a one-on-one gunfight thanks to that heal. On top of that as well, it is still an American destroyer with its guns. So if you don't want to play it as a cap contesting DD, you can play it as most other American DDs are played. She does give up 1 rack of torpedoes to get a ton of AA. The Kid was chosen by the Wargaming gods to be an excellent AA ship due to some of her IRL history, and she is still to this day like the best AA build in the game for higher tier when it comes to destroyers. Again, bar maybe the Pan Euros or some specialty design premiums. She gets DFAA, and even tier 10 CVs will tend to avoid you because they don't want to lose all their planes. So you get that awesome set of equipment and skills in one destroyer that's actually at the price of a tier 7 premium at the time of recording. So the Kid, one of the best DDs in game, one of the best premium DDs in game, costs as much as a tier 7 premium for some reason. And I thought it was okay, it's a destroyer, and destroyers usually cost less. No, it costs the same as a tier 7 premium ship, and it is cheaper than other tier 8 premium destroyers for some reason. Again, I think it's its age. Kid is a relatively old ship in the game's terms, so I'm guessing Wargaming dropped her price down for that reason. So, one of the best destroyers in the game here, fellas, that costs the same as a tier 7 premium ship. Why does Wargaming have it like that? Again, I think it's its age. I don't know, but right now it's fairly cheap by comparison to other tier 8 premium ships, and again, I can make this thing work. If I can make this thing work, I'm not an excellent DD player. You, my friend, can make this thing work. Make no mistake, destroyers, I have yet to master them. I am good at run and gun destroyers, and that is really it. But with the Kid, I can make it work. Now, do keep in mind, if you do play it as a cap contesting DD, you're going to be doing damage versus other DDs, so you won't have a gazillion damage at the end of the match, but that doesn't really matter because the way the game rewards you is your amount of damage that you did versus that ship's overall HP. So when it does come to murdering other DDs, the fact that you basically single-handedly murder that DD is the same thing as if you had farmed down a Preußen or a Hanover. It doesn't matter really how much damage you did, just what percentage did you do versus their overall HP. So again, murdering a tier 8 destroyer from full HP to not is the same as doing that to a battleship that had 100,000 damage. It does not matter. So the Kid will be earning you a fair amount of credits and XP because of that, and again, why I love her so. So again, that is my recommendation to you guys for my top 5 value premium ships, or bang for your buck premium ships. Not exactly sure what title I'm going to go with for this video, but anyway guys, that is my list. Let me know in the comments down below, what are your top 5 valuable or bang for your buck or cheap but effective premium ships? Let me know all that in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Monday and wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.